Look at second set of questions from arithmetics, number 11 through number 20. Now, so when we add up these two fractions, what are we going to do? You get to realize that 2 plus 4 becomes 6 already, but when you have 1/2 plus, so what I'm going to do is this, I'm going to do it individually here. 2 and 4 becomes 6. And then I need to add 1/2 and then 2/3. But when you look at it, these are a common denominator of 6. So I'm going to add 3 over 6. And then the other one is 4 over 6. So when you add them up, these two become 6 plus 7 over 6. Now, that means 6 plus 1 and a 1, 6. So when you add up 1 and 6 and 1, we get to realize that it becomes 7. So our final answer should be 7 and a 1, 6, which is choice C becomes the answer. Now, let's look at number 12. What is this one rounded to the nearest integer? So then when you look at this one, this is near 100. And then this is near. Now, I'll be more than, 1300, but about 1400. So when you round it up, it's going to be either these two. But you will realize that it will be closer to 1400. So let's try to look at it, see what happens. So if you want to actually do this one, 4, 5, 99. So first, I'm going to have 1 goes in, because it's going to be 13 or 14 anyway. So when I do that, then I get 99. Then I get to realize that this one is what? 5 coming down. And this one is what? 5 here. And then this one becomes 3. Now, then I'm going to have 3 here. 3 times 99. So 3 times 9 becomes 27. And 3 times 9 is another 27. So we get 2, 9, 7. So when I subtract them, what I end up getting is I have 0 decimal here. I have a 0 coming down. And this one is what? 8. And became now 4. Now, when I subtract 9 from 4, that means barring 1 over. So we get 5. So we get 590. Now, let's try to plug in now. This is near 600, but a bit more than 5. So what if I do 5 here? Then what I end up getting is 5 here and then 4. And then 495. And I have leftover. So I know that my answer will be 13.5 something. So therefore my answer should be 14, which was same as initial approximation. Number 13. 3 of 4 numbers have the sum of 22. Now, 3 of 4 numbers have sum is 22. If the average of 4 numbers is 8, whenever we have average, what I want you to think about is the sum. So then let's think about it. Sum of 4 numbers should be equal to, yes, it has to be 8, which was the average, multiplied by 4, which was how many numbers we had, which is equal to 32. You see, the sum of 4 numbers must be 32. But we realize the sum of the 3 numbers that was given to us initially was 22. Then what is the 4th number? That has to be the difference between these two, which is equal to 10. So choice D becomes the answer. Don't forget, sum is always can be found by average multiplied by number of data. Like how many values you would have had. Alright, let's look at number 14. 46.2 times 10 to the negative 2 power. This one looks like scientific notation. It is not, but it looks like that. So when you have 10 to the negative 2 power, so that means this value has to be getting smaller. By how? By moving the decimal point 2 times. Because negative exponent makes things smaller, so I have to move this one twice to the left. Then our answer is what? 0.462, which is choice B becomes the answer. All right, number 15. When they say divide by a fraction, that's the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. So you probably remember that. So we have 3 over 2 multiplied by 4 over 1, which now becomes, yes, 12 over 2, which becomes 6. So where is 6? 6 is between 5 and 7, which is choice C becomes the answer. Great, let's move on to the next problem. Number 16. What is 12% of 120? So what I can do is I can rewrite this one as 12%. So that means 0.12 of means to multiply 120. Now, then what I can say here is 12 times 12 is equal to 144, as many of you guys would have known it already. And then so 12% is a bit more than 10% of 120, which is a bit more than 12. So our answer should be something that contains 144, which is choice B. And then it makes sense that it's a bit more than 12 because this is 12%. All right. Let's look at number 17. A box in a college bookstore contains the books, and each book in the box is a history book, English book, or science book. Okay, so 1/3 of the books are history, and 1/6 are English books. What fractions of books are science books? So that means out of the whole thing, I need to subtract 1/3, and I need to subtract 1/6 because there are 3 kinds of books, I believe: history, English, or science. And then we know how much each portion takes. So when we subtract them, the remaining should be the science books. Then in this case, what I can do is I can have common denominator of 6 over 6 minus 2 over 6 minus 1 over 6. Now then, this is the same thing as 6 minus 2 minus 1. So total 3 out of 6, which is equal to 1/2. Choice B becomes the answer. Number 18. The measure of 2 angles of the triangles are such 35 and 45. Now we have to realize that what is the sum of interior angles of a triangle? That's always equal to 180. That's for the interior angles. So in this case, we are assuming that one angle is 35, the other is 45, so remaining has to be coming from 180. So what I can do is 180 minus 35 minus 45. Then this is the same thing as 180 minus 80, because 35 and 45 combined together becomes 80. So what we end up getting is 100. Choice B becomes the answer. All right. Number 19. Erica bought this much yard of fabric, and she uses 2/3 to make the curtain. How much she will have left? So since she used 2/3, we know that we only has 1/3 left. So what we actually need to figure out is 1/3 of that. That's how much is left. So in other words, 1/3 of 3.5. In other words, 1/3 multiplied by, and I'm going to turn this one into improper fraction. To get that, 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 1, so we get 7 over 2, would have been 3.5. So when you multiply these two, we get 7 over 6. 7 over 6 is how much is left. But if you have to convert that into mixed number, 1 comes to the front, 6 goes into 7 once, and the remaining 1 over 6. So 1 and 1, 6 yard, which is choice C becomes the answer. Number 20. Jen wants to tile the floor of her kitchen. The floor is rectangular and then measures 12 feet by 8 feet. Okay, so if it costs $2.50 per square foot of the material, what is the total cost of the material for tiling? So that means we need to figure out the area first. To get the area, we're going to do 12 multiply that by 8. So if you have to multiply by these two, what do we end up getting, guys? We get 96. So 96 is how much it will take us to tile them. But each square feet cost $2.50. So to find the cost, we have to do 96 times 2.5. Now, if you're to do that, what do we end up getting? We get 240. So, 240 will be our answer for the cost. All right, we'll stop here, and I'll see you later.